In life, there are so many difficult and terrible things that can hurt you. However, while growing up, there's one such thing most people face. Can you guess what it is? It's one word and starts with a B. Bullying. People get bullied for numerous reasons, such as one's looks, skin color, body shape, even their voice. Every 7 minutes, a kid gets bullied. In Taiwan, half of all kids have been bullied. And yes, as you may have already guessed, I was one of them. However, I'm very lucky, for I have left the past 17 years of my life behind. I was born in 1987 in Taidong, Taiwan. This part of Taiwan is beautiful with its mountains and seas. And many Aboriginals live there as well. My father was Taiwanese, and my mother was an Aboriginal. Aboriginal in Taiwan are considered minorities due to the difference in culture and living conditions. People used to think Aboriginal were lazy, poor, and loved to drink alcohol. They even used the racial slurs against the Aboriginal. Nowadays, the prejudice isn't as severe or common as it used to be. Still, the Aboriginal was still being labeled with unpleasant names back when I was in elementary school. For me, personally, my mixed ethnicity caused me to be torn between the Taiwanese and the Aboriginal kids in my class. I have two types of friends. One group, Taiwanese, and the other, Aboriginal. I was aware that I didn't fit in, so I would always imitate the accents from each group. When I was with my Taiwanese friends, I would act the same way as they did and talk about the same subject they cared about. I was just like them. On the other hand, when I was with my Aboriginal friends, I would change my dialect and control my volume and try to blend into their culture in hopes of feeling like I belonged. Therefore, in my continued search for my own self, I allowed others to define me. When I was 8 years old, I was only 5 feet tall. Yeah, pretty sure, right? I was chubby and dark-skinned, curly-haired, with big eyes and long eyelashes, and a very distinct black mole on my face. One day, after school, 3 girls who were bigger than me surrounded me, and their leader stood in the middle. I will never forget her name. I cannot recall how it started, but I remember they used the long list of English to try to talk down to me. They called me fat, short, ugly, and laughed at me because they thought that I couldn't understand. And after the long list of slurs in English, they continued in Chinese, and they said, my eyes and my eyelashes made me look just like a girl, and it was disgusting. All I wanted in a moment was for it to all end. Then they tapped me on the face where my mole was and said, what a huge fly. You know, that day I ran all the way home crying and completely hopeless. So I told my mom that I wanted to cut my eyelashes shorter, and of course my mom didn't agree, and thank God she didn't. Thank you, Mom. She told me my eyes were beautiful and there are so many people want my features but can't have them. As I grew older, I realized she was right, but at that time I was so young, I couldn't understand. In my heart, I still wish that I could change my appearance. The year I turned 9 years old, I suddenly realized that I couldn't really hear with my right ear. At the first time, I thought it was normal, but people had to repeat themselves a couple of times before I could understand. So I told my mom about this situation, but at that time she was either drunk or not at home, and also she thought that I was just a kid and did not believe me. So when I got to middle school, my hearing got worse. I didn't tell any teachers or classmates that I react slower because I couldn't really hear with one ear. So people would always say, are you deaf? Since I couldn't really hear probably. And the teacher became furious because I wouldn't respond even after being called on several times. In the school, often gave me poor marks because they believed that I wasn't concentrating on my studies. And my classmates thought I was too arrogant to respond to them, so they bullied me even more. It was very hurtful. Even in high school, when I was ready to be enlisted into the military, nobody knew, and my mom still didn't listen to me. It was before a standard physical exam required by the military that I told her, "Mom, I cannot read here with my right ear." Only then did she realize the potential severity of my problem, and finally took me to the hospital. So after a series of checkups, the doctor said, "You wouldn't be able to hear even if 2 jets flew by next to your right ear." So my mom was so shocked and responded asking, "Is there any way to cure it?" But the doctor only shook his head. Unlike my mother, I did not feel lost at the moment. Instead, I felt at peace with death and having flaws. So many people wonder, "Peter, what good is there in not being able to hear with 1 ear?" I will tell them now, man, it's actually great. Awesome. If someone wouldn't stop talking to me, it's noisy and I start to get annoyed, I could just turn the other ear. Or just let them stay on my right side. And every time I travel with my friends and live in the same room, when it starts snowing, I just turn on my left side. That's all. I won't hear anything at all. As I mentioned, these flaws and problems did not disappear once I entered high school. When I was 15, I went to a big city and tried to go to a decent high school. I yearned to see a different world. And I always dreamed of walking away from the place I grew up and seeing a beautiful world around us. But in the midst of my exploration, I would often hear other people to tell me, "You are so uncultured. It is impossible for you to have the money to travel the world. And your English is so bad. People like you should just go back where you come from." At this point in my life, I was unsure what I wanted. So I returned home the year of my graduation. During my stay, I took on a job and met the person who changed my life. He was a Buddhist, and I would often talk to him about my past. One day, he asked if I was going to stay home or live there permanently. I only told him that I wanted to explore the world and I wanted a new life. And he only replied, "You are who you are. No one and nothing can define your existence. You just have to accept the past and the present to have the power to pursue your future." It took me a very, very long time to finally understand the meaning of the statement. So I stand here today with a few questions for you. What defines you? What defines you? Is it the place you come from? Is it the people who attack you? Is it your skin color? Or is the label that this world has given you? What really defines a person? And 10 years later, the kid who was once laughed at and bullied is standing here to share his stories with you. The kid who was once told he would never be able to travel the world has explored 10 different countries and published a book. So the year I returned home, I began to accept my imperfections, began to accept the things and people that I used to dislike. I told myself, I will stop letting others define me. I will not allow the people who told me I have bad English or have no money to travel the world to define me. I will transform my pain and despair into the opportunities to grow. I told myself, it doesn't matter how other people see you. What matters is how you see yourself. It doesn't matter who likes you or who dislikes you. Just be compassionate and kind-hearted. Live your own dreams and walk your own path. And the trick is, keep smiling at those who don't like you. That's what I hate to see. Smile. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter who I am, but once I understand who I am, I can stop chasing after things that don't belong to me. I can come to understand my happiness and my tears, and no longer give up on things that I love. I've learned that growth and maturity consist of two parts. One is pursuit of happiness, and the other is acceptance of flaws. Regardless of whether they are good or bad, we should learn to accept them and know that there are two sides to everything. Wherever there's sadness, there will also be happiness. However, you have to know that when the world slaps you across the face, the best way to respond is to confront it courageously, accept it, even enjoy it. You have to learn how to find the perfection in imperfections. Everyone hopes to always hold on to the positive energy and live with a positive energy. But there's so much more to this world. There's a long road ahead. And there will also be a lot of obstacles in your life, and the world will not change as you see fit. Only when you accept your imperfections will you be able to see the world differently. If I can do it, so can you. Remember, just remember, it all starts today. Thank you.